What if the coin in your pocket right now isn't just 10 cents? What if it's a forgotten witness to history, a silent messenger of liberty, peace, and strength, carrying the face of a president who refused to be broken by polio? From 2000 to 2023, from Philadelphia to your fingertips, every Roosevelt dime tells a story. But the real treasure, it hides in the tiny mistakes, the ghost strikes, the doubled lips. The off-center miracles that turn spare change into life-changing fortune. You're about to learn how to see what others ignore. Welcome to the hunt. Subscribe and don't spend another dime until you watch this. Timing tip: pause after 10 cents and after fortune for dramatic effect. End with a slow zoom on a dime. Let's get started. First up, forget the rumors of instant billion-dollar fortunes, at least for now. The truth about your 2000p Roosevelt dime is far more fascinating than any get-rich-quick scheme. What you have is a modern marvel of minting, a piece of history that has witnessed the turn of the millennium, and a direct link to one of America's most revered presidents. However, let's address the viral claims head-on. The bicentennial coins that have made headlines are almost exclusively 1976 quarters with a specific and extremely rare era. Your 2000 dime is not a bicentennial coin, and in its standard form, it's not a ticket to early retirement. A typical circulated 2000p dime is worth exactly its face value, 10 cents. Even a pristine, uncirculated example usually trades for between $3 and $38, with only the most flawless specimens reaching up to $135. So before you start browsing for private islands, take a deep breath and get ready to discover the true, layered story hiding in plain sight. The journey of this small coin begins with the man it honors, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd president who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. After his sudden death in April 1945, the nation mourned and clamored for a fitting tribute. The dime was a natural choice, as it was directly tied to Roosevelt's personal crusade against polio, a disease that had paralyzed him. He was the founder of the March of Dimes, a charity that funded the development of the polio vaccine. In 1946, just months after his passing, the Mercury dime was replaced with this new design, making the Roosevelt dime the only U.S. coin to have retained its original design for its entire production life, a quiet testament to its enduring perfection. The coin's powerful symbolism was etched by the U.S. Mint's chief engraver, John R. Sinek. On the front, or obverse, you see Roosevelt's left-facing profile, a portrait designed to convey dignity and strength. Flanking him are the inscriptions "Liberty," and in a phrase that binds the nation's spirit, "In God we trust." But the true poetry lies on the reverse. Here a majestic torch stands for liberty, Azadi, shining as a beacon of hope. To its left, an olive branch represents peace, Ammon, and to its right, an oak branch symbolizes strength, Takat. Together, they tell a story of a nation built on these three pillars. So precise are these details that collectors obsess over the full bands, FB or full torch, FT designation, awarded only when the horizontal bands on the torch are completely separated, a detail that can skyrocket a coin's value among serious numismatists. Your dime also has a precise identity defined by its physical stats. It weighs exactly 2.27 grams and is 17.9 millimeters in diameter, making it smaller and lighter than even a penny. Since 1965, dimes have been made of a clad composition, a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper, 25% nickel. The P Mint mark on your coin, located above the date, tells you it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced a staggering 1.8 billion of these dimes in the year 2000 alone. With a mintage that high, finding a standard coin is like finding a grain of sand on a beach. The immense supply is the primary reason a regular 2000p dime doesn't command a premium. But here is where your story takes its most dramatic turn. While the standard coin is common, the minting process is not perfect, and it's within these flaws that true value is born. Your coin could be hiding one of several rare errors that transform it from pocket change into a collector's prize. Imagine a die adjustment strike, where insufficient pressure creates a ghost-like faded image. A 2000p dime with this error, graded MS67, once sold at auction for $1,175. Perhaps your coin has a rim burr, a jagged fragment of metal clinging to its edge, a unique error that fascinates collectors. Or you could be holding a doubled die or a dramatic off-center strike, where the design is wildly misaligned. The rarest and most valuable of all would be a wrong planchet error, where the dime design was stamped onto a blank intended for a different coin, like a penny. These extreme errors, though nearly impossible to find, have been known to sell for thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Adding another layer of nuance is the fact that the year 2000 marked a subtle but significant design revision. The mint slightly reduced the size of Roosevelt's head, pushing the surrounding inscriptions like Liberty and the date further from the rim. This revised obverse was a minor engineering tweak to extend the life of the dies and improve striking quality, and it serves as a handy diagnostic feature for any collector. So if you compare your coin to one from 1999, you might just spot the difference. So what should you do? First, examine your dime not as a spendable coin, but as a potential treasure. Look closely at the torch for the full bands, and scrutinize every letter and design element for any doubling, missing details, or strange protrusions. Any anomaly could be a sign of a valuable mint error. If you think you've found something, do not clean it. That can destroy its value. Instead, take it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. Whether you found a $1,175 error or a humble 10-cent piece, you now hold in your hand a fascinating piece of Americana. It is a miniature sculpture, a historical document, and a tiny, silent witness to the dawn of a new millennium. And in that sense, its value is truly beyond measure. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel. Next coin, listen closely, because what you're about to read might just make you grab a magnifying glass and tear through every pocket of every old jacket you own. You believe you have a 2016 P. Roosevelt dime, a coin that on the surface seems as common as morning coffee. But the rumors you've heard about bicentennial coins worth millions have twisted the truth into a glittering web of hope. Let me untangle it for you right now. The true bicentennial coins that shook the collecting world were struck in 1976 to honor America's 200th birthday, and those quarter dollars with a specific drum error have indeed sold for life-changing sums. Your 2016 dime is not a bicentennial coin. It belongs to the modern era of Roosevelt dimes, which have been minted in the billions. Yet, and this is a massive yet, the word modern does not mean worthless. It means the treasure is hidden not in age, but in imperfection, in the tiniest mistakes made by the minting press. So before you dismiss your 2016 P dime as spare change, understand this: a single mint error on a modern coin can turn 10 cents into $10,000 or even more. And that is the real story you need to chase. Let's first honor the man whose face rides on every Roosevelt dime. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, took the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. When he died in April 1945, the American people wanted a lasting tribute. The dime was chosen because of Roosevelt's personal battle with polio. He had founded the March of Dimes, a charity that funded the research leading to the polio vaccine. In 1946, the mint replaced the Mercury dime with John Arsenic's design of Roosevelt's left-facing portrait. That same design, with only minor refinements over the decades, has survived untouched in spirit for nearly 80 years. Your 2016 P dime is therefore not just a coin, it is a direct, unbroken line to one of America's most transformative leaders. Every time you hold it, you hold a piece of the resolve that pulled a nation from its knees. Now turn the coin over, because the reverse side speaks a universal language. A blazing torch rises in the center, symbolizing liberty, azadi, the fire of freedom that never dims. To the torch's left, an olive branch bends gracefully, representing peace, Ammon. To its right, a sturdy oak branch stands for strength, Takat. These three symbols, torch, olive, oak, are not decoration. They are a deliberate political and philosophical statement that a nation cannot exist without freedom, cannot thrive without peace, and cannot endure without strength. Engravers took painstaking care to render every leaf and flame. Among collectors, a dime that shows fully separated horizontal bands on the torch earns the coveted full bands FB designation, which can multiply its value even in modern years. So your 2016 P dime might look ordinary, but if those bands are razor sharp, you already have something special. Let's talk about the physical reality of your coin. The 2016 P. Roosevelt dime weighs 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. Its composition is a clad sandwich, an inner core of pure copper with outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper, 25% nickel. This is the same composition used for all dimes, quarters, and half dollars since 1965, when silver was removed due to rising bullion prices. The P mint mark above the date tells you this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which in 2016 produced hundreds of millions of dimes. With such a massive mintage, a perfectly normal 2016 P dime is worth exactly 10 cents in circulated condition. Even in uncirculated grades, you might only get $1 to $3, but do not let that number fool you, because the magic of modern coin collecting lies entirely in errors, and errors are what turn pocket change into headlines. So what errors should you hunt for on your 2016 P dime? First, look for a die adjustment strike, also called a weak strike. This happens when the minting press doesn't apply full pressure, leaving the design faint, ghostly, almost like a whisper on metal. A dramatic weak strike on a modern dime can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to error collectors. Second, search for off-center strikes. If your coin's design is shifted so that part of the blank metal shows, or if the date is cut off, you have a genuine rarity. An off-center dime that still shows the full date can fetch $50 to $500 depending on how dramatic the shift is. Third, look for doubled dies where letters or numbers appear to have a shadow or a second outline. The 2016 P dime is not known for major doubled die varieties, but small ones do exist, and any doubling on Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date makes your coin instantly more valuable. Now brace yourself for the rarest and most explosive possibility, a wrong planchet error. Imagine your dime design stamped onto a blank that was meant for a penny, which is lighter and copper-colored, or onto a foreign coin blank. These errors are so bizarre that they often sell for 4 or 5 figures. In fact, a modern dime struck on a nickel planchet or a cent planchet has been known to bring $5,000 to $15,000 at auction. The odds of finding one in your pocket are astronomical, but they are not zero. People have found them in rolls from the bank, in change from a gas station, in the dusty corner of a coin jar. That is the raw, addictive thrill of this hobby. The next coin you examine could be the one. Let's clear up the bicentennial confusion once and for all, because it is the source of so much false hope. The United States Mint produced special bicentennial coins in 1975 and 1976 for the quarter, half dollar, and dollar. Those coins feature a colonial drummer on the reverse and the dual date, 1776-1976. Some of those quarters, especially those struck in silver or with a rare no mint mark error, have indeed sold for tens of thousands of dollars. One legendary 1976 quarter with a die cap error reportedly traded for over $100,000. Your 2016 dime is not part of that family, but here is the secret that YouTube hype videos never tell you. Bicentennial is just a theme. Valuable errors can happen in any year. 2016 dime with a missing clad layer, a dramatic off-center strike, or double denomination error is just as rare and just as valuable as any 1976 coin. So do not discard your 2016 P dime because it is not old enough. Age is not the driver of value. Rarity and error are. What should you do right now? Take your 2016 P dime and place it under strong light. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. A jeweler's loupe is even better. Examine every letter, every flame of the torch, every leaf on the olive and oak branches. Look for anything unusual, extra metal, missing metal, doubling, ghost images, or a design that seems pressed too lightly. Compare it to a normal dime side by side. If you see something strange, do not clean the coin. Cleaning destroys numismatic value instantly. Instead, search online for known error varieties for the 2016 P. Roosevelt dime. If your find seems genuine, submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate it, assign a grade, and encapsulate it, turning your 10-cent piece into a certified treasure that you can sell at auction or keep as a family heirloom. In the end, the true value of your 2016 P. Roosevelt dime is not just in its potential price tag, though that price tag could surprise you. It is in the story. This tiny disc of copper and nickel has traveled from the Philadelphia Mint through countless hands, perhaps buying a newspaper, tipping a waiter, or dropping into a fountain as a wish. It carries the profile of a president who refused to let polio define him. It carries a torch that reminds us that liberty is never free, an olive branch that whispers peace, and an oak branch that promises resilience. Whether your particular coin turns out to be worth 10 cents or $10,000, you now know how to look at it not as change, but as a silent witness to history. And that knowledge, that attention to detail, is the first step toward finding the next real fortune hiding in plain sight. Next, Coin the Truth about your 2022 P. Roosevelt dime is a tale of two realities. One is the quiet, steady reality of a modern coin in circulation, and the other is a world of hidden imperfections where pocket change can indeed transform into a collector's treasure. Before you dismiss this shiny piece of 2022 metal, understand that the viral rumors of bicentennial millions are almost always attached to the 1976 quarter with a specific, rare era. Your coin is not a bicentennial issue, but that fact alone does not make it worthless. It simply shifts the focus from age to the thrilling hunt for mint-made mistakes. Let us bury the million-dollar myth once and for all. A perfectly normal, circulated 2022 P dime is worth exactly 10 cents. Even an uncirculated specimen, fresh from a mint roll, typically trades for between 75 cents and just over $2. The true value and the real story lies not in what the coin was supposed to be, but in what it could have accidentally become. Your coin belongs to a proud lineage that stretches back to 1946, when a grieving nation sought to honor Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd president who had just passed away. FDR, who was paralyzed by polio and had founded the March of Dimes, was a natural choice for the 10-cent piece. The design you hold is the work of chief engraver John R. Sinek, who crafted a portrait of Roosevelt that has remained fundamentally unchanged for over 7 decades, a silent testament to its enduring perfection. This makes your 2022 dime a direct, tangible link to one of America's most transformative leaders, a man who steered the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. Every time you look at his profile, you are not just seeing a president, you are seeing a symbol of resilience and national recovery. Now flip your coin over, because the reverse side speaks a universal language of hope and strength. In the center, a majestic torch blazes for liberty, Azadi, a beacon that has guided millions. To its left, a humble olive branch offers peace, Ammon, a reminder that freedom must be tempered with harmony. And to its right, a sturdy oak branch stands for strength, Takat, the unyielding power that protects both liberty and peace. This design, first struck just after the end of World War II, was intended to symbolize the victorious conclusion of that global conflict. When you hold this dime, you are literally holding a miniature sculpture of America's core ideals, a trifecta of principles that the nation has, for better or worse, strived to uphold for generations. Let's get into the physical details, because they matter for spotting potential value. Your coin weighs precisely 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter, making it the smallest and thinnest of all U.S. coins in circulation. Since 1965, dimes have been made of a clad composition, an inner core of pure copper, sandwiched between outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper, 25% nickel. The P Mint mark, located just above the date, tells you it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which in 2022 produced a staggering 1,551,000,000 of these dimes. With a mintage of over 1.5 billion, finding a perfect, standard coin is as common as finding a grain of sand on a beach, which is precisely why a regular example commands no premium. But this is where your story takes its most dramatic turn. With billions of coins struck, the minting process is not perfect, and it is within these flaws that real value is born. Your 2022 P dime could be hiding one of several known errors that transform it from spare change into a collector's prize. Have you heard of the drooling Frank error? It is a die crack that appears on the side of Roosevelt's lips, making him look like he is drooling. While fairly common, a circulated drooling Frank dime can still be worth $5 to $10, 100 times its face value. Then there is the burning torch or smoky torch error, where a foreign object during striking obscures part of the torch's flame, creating a ghostly, smudged appearance. This unique error can command $30 to $40. The dollar's errors become even more valuable and bizarre from there. Look closely at Roosevelt's lips. If they appear doubled, thickened, or oddly shaped, you might have a double lip error, a type of double die that has sold for an impressive $165 even in circulated condition. Imagine a double die reverse strike through, a coin that combines two different errors, where the die struck at slightly different angles and a foreign object interfered simultaneously. These fascinating anomalies are highly sought after by collectors. You should also be on the lookout for broad strikes, where the coin is struck without its retaining collar, causing it to spread wider than normal, off-center strikes, or the rare wrong planchet error, where a dime design is stamped onto a blank meant for a penny. Any of these could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. There is one more nuance that separates your 2022 dime from its earlier counterparts. In the year 2000, the US Mint subtly revised the obverse design of all Roosevelt dimes. The size of Roosevelt's head was slightly reduced, allowing the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date to be moved further away from the rim. This change, made to minimize deterioration of design details, means that your 2022 dime is part of the modern obverse variety. While subtle, this revision is a key diagnostic feature that collectors use to distinguish mintages and study design evolution over the decades. Now, let's circle back to the term bicentennial that has caused so much confusion. The United States Mint produced special bicentennial coins in 1975 and 1976 for the quarter, half dollar, and dollar, featuring a colonial drummer and the dual date 1776-1976. Some of those quarters, especially those with rare errors, have indeed sold for tens of thousands of dollars. Your 2022 dime is not part of that family. However, the secret that YouTube hype videos never tell you is this: bicentennial is just a theme. Valuable errors can happen in any year. A 2022 dime with a dramatic off-center strike, a missing clad layer, or a double denomination error is just as rare and potentially just as valuable as any 1976 coin. Do not discard your 2022 P dime because it is not old enough. Age is not the primary driver of value, rarity and error are. So what should you do right now? Take your 2022 P dime and place it under strong light with a magnifying glass, or better yet, a jeweler's loupe. Examine every letter of Liberty and In God We Trust, every flame of the torch, and every leaf on the olive and oak branches. Look for anything unusual: doubling, missing details, extra metal blobs, die chips, or a design that seems pressed too lightly. Compare it side by side with another dime if you have one. If you see anything strange, do not clean the coin. Cleaning destroys numismatic value instantly. Instead, research the error online, or if you believe you have a genuine anomaly, submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate it, assign a grade, and encapsulate it, potentially turning your 10-cent piece into a certified treasure. Whether your 2022 P dime turns out to be worth 10 cents or $10,000, you now hold in your hand a fascinating piece of modern Americana, a silent witness to the early 2020s, a miniature sculpture of liberty, peace, and strength, and a potential ticket to a thrilling treasure hunt. And that, in itself, is a story worth far more than its weight in metal. Next up, let me speak to you directly, because what you are holding could be the most misunderstood coin in your pocket. You have a 2023 P Roosevelt dime, and the internet has filled your head with visions of bicentennial millions, of fortunes made overnight, of rare coins that turn ordinary people into billionaires. I need to stop you right there, not to crush your dreams, but to redirect your focus to where real treasure actually hides. The words bicentennial refer specifically to America's 200th birthday in 1976, and the coins that shook the collecting world were quarters, half dollars, and dollars stamped with the dual date, 1776-1976. Your 2023 dime is not a bicentennial coin. It is a modern, standard-issue Roosevelt dime, struck at the Philadelphia Mint in a year when production exceeded 1.2 billion pieces. In ordinary circulated condition, it is worth exactly 10 cents. Even a pristine, uncirculated example from a mint roll typically sells for $1 to $3. But before you sigh and toss it back into your change jar, listen carefully. The most valuable coins in history were not valuable because they were old. They were valuable because they were wrong, because the minting press stumbled, because metal shifted, because a tiny, accidental flaw turned a common coin into a legend. And that same magic can live inside your 2023 P-Dime. Let us begin with the soul of this coin, the man it honors. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, was not just a politician. He was a man who refused to let polio steal his spirit. After his death in April 1945, the nation searched for a fitting memorial. The dime was chosen because of Roosevelt's March of Dimes, the charity that funded the research for the polio vaccine. In 1946, the Mercury dime was retired, and John R. Sinek's elegant portrait of Roosevelt took its place. That same profile has gazed out from millions of pockets, purses, and cash registers for nearly 80 years. Your 2023 dime carries that uninterrupted legacy. When you hold it, you are touching a direct link to a president who said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." That is not nothing. That is history you can weigh in your palm. Now turn the coin over, because the reverse is where the poetry lives. A towering torch blazes in the center, and it stands for liberty, Azadi, the fire that cannot be extinguished. To the left of the torch, an olive branch bends gracefully, and it represents peace, Amen. To the right, a strong oak branch rises, and it symbolizes strength, Takat. These three elements were not chosen by accident. They were deliberately placed on the first Roosevelt dimes minted just after the end of World War II, a message to a war-weary world that America would stand for freedom, would seek peace, and would remain strong. The engraver carved every leaf and every flame with painstaking precision. Among serious collectors, a dime that shows fully separated horizontal bands on the torch earns the coveted full bands designation, which can multiply its value even in modern years. So examine your 2023 P-Dime closely. If those bands are razor-sharp and distinct, you already have a coin that is above average. Let me give you the hard numbers, because facts are your foundation. Your 2023 P-Dime weighs 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. It is made of a clad sandwich, a pure copper core, with outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper, 25% nickel. This composition has been standard for all dimes since 1965, when silver was removed from circulating coinage. The P mint mark, located just above the date on the obverse, tells you the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In 2023, the Philadelphia Mint produced an estimated 1.2 to 1.5 billion Roosevelt dimes. That staggering number is the single biggest reason why a normal 2023 P-Dime has no premium. Supply drowns demand. But here is the twist. That same enormous production volume also means millions of opportunities for the minting press to make a mistake. And mistakes are where fortunes hide. So what kind of mistakes should you hunt for on your 2023 P-Dime? Let me walk you through the most exciting possibilities. First, look for die adjustment strikes, also called weak strikes or ghost strikes. This happens when the press does not apply full pressure, leaving Roosevelt's face faint, almost translucent, as if it were a dream printed on metal. A dramatic weak strike on a modern dime can be worth $500 to $2,000 depending on the severity. Second, search for off-center strikes. If your coin's design is shifted so that part of the blank silver-colored metal shows, or if the date is partially cut off, you have a genuine rarity. An off-center dime that still shows the full year can sell for $50 to $500. The more dramatic the shift, the higher the price. Third, examine the letters and numbers for doubled dies. This error creates a shadow, a ghost outline, or a second impression slightly offset from the first. On a 2023 P-Dime, look closely at Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 2023. Any noticeable doubling makes your coin instantly more valuable, often ranging from $20 to $200 for minor varieties. Fourth, be aware of die chips and die cracks. These are small blobs of extra metal on the coin's surface, often appearing near the rim, the torch, or Roosevelt's hair. While common, a large or dramatically placed die chip can be worth $10 to $50 to error collectors. Fifth, the most explosive possibility, a wrong planchet error. Imagine your dime design stamped onto a blank intended for a penny, which is lighter and copper-colored, or onto a nickel planchet. These errors are so rare and so bizarre that they routinely sell for $5,000 to $15,000 at auction. The odds are astronomical, but people have found them in bank rolls, in change from a grocery store, in the bottom of a coin jar. It happens, Now let me address the different for the past clue you mentioned. There is indeed something unique about your 2023 P dime compared to earlier Roosevelt dimes. In 2022 and 2023, the US Mint quietly continued a subtle design revision that first appeared around the year 2000. Roosevelt's head was slightly reduced in size, pushing the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust further from the rim. This change was made to reduce die wear and improve strike quality. Additionally, beginning in 2022, the Philadelphia Mint began using a new, more precise method of placing mint marks, resulting in a sharper, clearer P than on some earlier issues. Your 2023 P dime is therefore part of the most refined generation of Roosevelt dimes ever produced. For a collector who specializes in modern varieties, these subtle differences matter. A 2023 P dime with full bands and a flawless strike might command $5 to $15 on the collector market, which is still a significant multiple of its face value. Let me clear up the bicentennial confusion once and for all, because it has caused more false hope than almost any other coin myth. The United States Mint produced special bicentennial coins in 1975 and 1976 for the quarter, half dollar, and dollar. Those coins feature a colonial drummer on the reverse and the dual date, 1776-1976. Very small number of those quarters were struck on silver planchets intended for proof sets, and those have sold for $10,000 to $50,000. $1 legendary 1976 quarter with a dramatic die cap error reportedly traded for over $100,000. Your 2023 dime is not in that family. But here is the secret that clickbait videos never tell you. Valuable errors are not limited to bicentennial years. A 2023 dime with a missing clad layer, a double denomination, or a dramatic off-center strike is just as rare and just as valuable as any 1976 era coin. Do not discard your 2023 P dime because it is too new. Age is a poor substitute for rarity, and rarity lives in accidents, not in calendars. What should you do with your 2023 P dime right now? First, do not spend it. Set it aside in a safe, clean place. Second, get a magnifying glass. A jeweler's loupe with 10x magnification is ideal. Place the coin under a bright desk lamp. Examine every millimeter. Roosevelt's hair, his lips, his eye, the torch bands, the olive leaves, the oak leaves, the lettering. Look for anything that seems out of place. Extra metal, missing metal, ghost images, cracks, doubling, or a design that appears pressed too weakly. Compare it side by side with another dime from your pocket. If you see something unusual, do not clean the coin. Cleaning destroys numismatic value instantly and permanently. Instead, take clear, well-lit photographs. Then search online for known era varieties for the 2023 P Roosevelt dime. There are dedicated communities of era collectors who can help you identify what you have found. If you genuinely believe you have found a rare era, a dramatic off-center strike, a wrong planchet, a doubled die, or a major die adjustment strike, then you should consider submitting your coin to a professional grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. These companies will authenticate the era, assign a numerical grade, and encapsulate the coin in a tamper-proof holder. That certification can turn a 10-cent coin into a 4-figure or even 5-figure collectible. Even if your coin has only a minor error, a certified example can sell for far more than a raw, unverified one. The cost of submission is typically $20 to $40, which is a small risk compared to the potential reward. Let me leave you with this final thought, because it is the most important thing you will read today. The true value of your 2023 P Roosevelt dime is not just in its potential price tag, though that price tag could surprise you. It is in the story. This tiny disc of copper and nickel has traveled from the Philadelphia Mint through the hands of countless Americans. It has witnessed the early years of a new decade, the lingering echoes of a global pandemic, the rhythms of daily life in a nation forever reinventing itself. It carries the profile of a president who refused to let polio define him. It carries a torch that reminds us that liberty is never free, an olive branch that whispers peace, and an oak branch that promises resilience. Whether your particular coin turns out to be worth 10 cents or $10,000, you now know how to look at it not as change, but as a silent witness to history. And that knowledge, that attention to detail, that willingness to look closer, is the first step toward finding the next real fortune hiding in plain sight. So go ahead, take another look at your 2023 P-Dime. The treasure might already be in your hand, so next time you find a coin in your pocket, don't just spend it, inspect it. And don't forget to subscribe for more hidden treasures.